Hi everyone, the UK Games Expo is upon us once again, 31st of May to the 2nd of June at the NEC in Birmingham. Tons and tons of games there. I did a great big list on Board Game Geek, and there's the Tabletop Together tool as always to help you collate it and make useful lists and things. They'll all be linked in the description. For now though, we're just going to concentrate on 10 games. The 10 games I am most excited about checking out, maybe getting hold of, but a lot of these are for demo, I think. And so I don't know that much about them, but hopefully I'll give you some idea, and if you're not going to the expo, it will entice you. Maybe you'll subscribe to them on Board Game Geek. If you're at the expo, maybe you can get down there and check them out for yourself. So they're not in any particular order, so let's just go in the order I wrote them down in. First up is Seize the Bean from Quality Beast, and this is a game I did a prototype playthrough for a while ago. And this game is a game, obviously, where we are baristas. We're running coffee shops, and it's a deck building game with a bit of a twist, where your deck is really a queue of customers, and so you are enticing different kinds of customers to your shop that will give you the best benefits and want the items that you can get easily. But you are also kind of building an engine on your individual player board as well, because you can get different items and things that will enhance you getting stuff. So when you get stock, when you get coffee beans, for example, you'll get way more. When you get milk, you'll get way more. Also, I think there's extras for this, but my prototype had some amazing, special 3D printed pieces for the sugar cubes and the milk and stuff. It was really lavish production. I'm not sure how that turns out in the final product, but that's what I'm really excited about. After having played the playthrough and having to send it on to the next reviewer, we haven't played Seize the Bean for ages, and we really loved it at the time. Disclaimer, I have been put into the game as a little promo card. I'll put a picture of it there. Is that me? So, yeah, maybe that's influencing me. But you can go back and look at my Seize the Bean video long before anybody surprised me and put me in a game, and I was more effusive, if anything, about it. So, yeah, that is Seize the Bean, coffee deck building game. Next up is Paranormal Detectives from Lucky Duck Games, and if you've seen some of my videos for their stuff in the past, I tend to really like their games. Jetpack Joyride, Chronicles of Crime, and many more. Think of them beforehand, write them down, and you'll be able to say them in the video. This is a bit of a different thing, though, for me. It is a party deduction game. I don't really like deduction games, and I don't play party games that much, but we've started playing them more and more often. It's probably once a month or so, maybe not quite that often. They tend to go down the best and be the most fun when we've got a lot of friends around. And yeah, this is a game where one person plays a ghost and the rest are paranormal detectives, and we are trying to, investigate a mystery. But the way that we interact with the ghost is quite strange. We're gonna have to look down and read off something, where the ghost will answer in a variety of ghostly ways by arranging a hangman's knot, by playing chosen tarot cards, creating a word puzzle on a talking board, or drawing by holding the hand of a detective. It sounds crazy. So yeah, it could go either way for me, but I am definitely on board to find out. That is Paranormal Detectives. Next up is Imperial Settlers Roll and Write from Portal Games. And yeah, if you've seen a few of my videos, especially based on Roll and Writes, I am just a sucker for them. And yeah, Imperial Settlers is a game that we've never played the base game. We've played 51st State, that I believe it's kind of an evolution of. We played the original 51st State, and I enjoy that a lot. Kind of avoided Imperial Settlers because I heard it had a lot of attacking in it, and that's not really our thing. But yeah, I am willing to give it a chance, and I'm quite excited for it once it becomes a roll and write game, however shallow that might be. But if it does end up being that there's too much fighting between us for us, it has got, I believe, a solo pad where all of the sheets are different. So many combinations and different times. So maybe that will be a good plus for it as well. That's Imperial Settlers Roll and Write. And I should be saying individually in the things, Imperial Settlers Roll and Write will be available to buy, as will Seize the Bean. Paranormal Detectives is demo only. Anyway, next up is Foothills from Surprised Stare Games. Well, actually, it's from Lookout Games, but there are going to be limited copies available at the Surprised Stare Games booth. And I thought this was just a demo. I've just found this out in checking my facts, and I really hope that I can get over there soon enough to get a copy. We are usually, held up at the Bring and Buy or something, maybe we'll have to split off and one of us will have to try and go get it, because this is from Tony Boydell and Ben Bateson, and it is a two-player reimagining, a two-player only reimagining of Snowdonia. And you can see my playthrough for Snowdonia on the channel. I love it. It is a game of excavating, of station building, and trying to build the railway on Snowdonia, and has gone beyond that with loads of scenarios and things, and it's coming out with a beautiful master set. But it really appeals to us in particular because we are generally two-player gamers, and so when somebody comes out with a two-player only version of something, definitely piques my interest. Any extra version of Snowdonia would have excited me. So yeah, already we've watched a bit of a demo last year. We came too late to be able to play it, and I do apologise in advance to Tony and Ben because I seem to always butcher the description of it and make it not sound as cool as it looked when I was there. Tony has, I will link in the corner there, Tony on his channel, the co-designer, has done a quick overview of what the game's like, and he will surely do a better job than me. But in Snowdonia, it is a worker placement game where you are, okay, I'm going to build rails this turn, I'm going to excavate the rubble this turn, and it's kind of like that, but instead of just the basic actions, we have these cards. So when we take one of those actions, we flip a card over and it covers up the action. And so now we have a different action that is printed on this card, and to get to that original action again, we have to take this new different action. And of course you're going to have opportunities throughout the game of being able to change what those cards are, to get new cards and to try and build your own set of actions. So that is only the action selection element of it, but yeah, it looked like a really fun twist on what we are used to from Snowdonia, and I'm sure it's got a load more surprises in store as well. And it's got a cover and everything. Look, the cover's over there. It doesn't look great. Foothills. Next up is Pandemic Rapid Response. This is going to be available to demo, and when I first heard about this last week, that a dice game version of Pandemic is coming out, I thought, well, there's already Pandemic the Cure, and that it is a real-time one. And I really love real-time games and Pandemic and dice games. And then I heard, Matt Leacock, the master, the grandfather, the father of Pandemic, isn't actually a designer on this, and so I was a little bit concerned, but then I saw that the designer is Kane Klenko, who is a master of real-time games. And just to name a couple, Flatline and its original version, Fuse. Well, it's not the same version. Flatline was kind of a successor, a sequel, a bigger sequel. We love Flatline. You can see my videos for both on the channel, but Fuse in particular, we have played probably more than any other game. It helps that it's just a 10-minute game. It's a game of bomb defusal. Of these cards represent bombs, and you need to put certain combinations of dice on, all in real time and all cooperating as fast as you can. And it is still the best real-time game. It's got just the right level of stress where I'd love Kitchen Rush to death, but for Rachel, who I play most of my games with, it's too stressful, it's too much. Fuse is absolutely the sweet spot, and we played it enough times to master it. Definitely played it over 100 times when I was tracking that kind of thing. I spent this whole entry talking about a different game from the designer, but that's because I haven't looked at anything else on Pandemic Rapid Response. All I needed to know was Pandemic got me interested. Kane Klenko definitely sealed the deal. I am really excited to find out more and hopefully get a chance to play it at the expo. Next up is Villagers from Sinister Fish Games. This is another one I did a playthrough for over a year ago for a prototype version of the game. This is a game of, you're not drafting cards, but you are taking cards from a selection on the table, and you are trying to build up a village. And the villagers work in kind of tech trees. So you will start off with a basic miner, and then there are all these different jobs that kind of branch out from the miner, and you end up with this this varied village of all of these different chains of workers, and some of them have padlocks to put down, and you have to pay other people that have played the workers that unlock your workers. It really works together beautifully well, and it's a fast-playing, really nice looking game as well. That is kind of based on the prototype. I did play, a friend got a Kickstarter copy, and we played at the weekend, and yeah, I love it just as much. I haven't played with the expansion stuff, but yeah, so am I anticipating it? I haven't got a copy, so yes, I am anticipating it, and I want to play the Kickstarter exclusive stuff that I believe wasn't in my prototype. Hey, I just want to play it more. Villagers. Next, we move on to Alley Cat Games, and I could be talking about all the things they've put out, or the newer things. Chocolate Factory, they'll be available to demo there. You can see my playthrough of that. I don't know why I'm pointing. There's not going to be this huge list in the description of every random thing that I mention. Cat Cafe, which a playthrough has just gone up for, or is just about to go up for on the channel, a new roll and write game. But the thing I want to talk about is I just looked at the pronunciation and I've forgotten. Bear with me. Marquesas. Why can't I remember that? Marquesas. And I don't know much about this. It's a fairly ordinary description that it is a dice placement resource conversion game. But the thing that gets me most excited, not the fact that I trust Alley Cat Games. I enjoy enough of their games to trust their judgment on what they bring out. And while not everything works perfectly for us, I'm always willing to give them a try, and they almost always work out. But the main thing that is appealing to me is that this comes from designers Louis and Stefan Mals, who are the designers of Edo, a fantastic programming game. It's hidden behind my back somewhere down here. And along with Matthias Kramer, they designed Rococo, which is a game of dressmaking and kind of area control and building up. It's deck building, but with a really limited deck. Absolutely fantastic game. Edo is great, but Rococo is sublime. And yeah, just based on the designer pedigree, I am on board for Marquesas. I remembered that right, didn't I? Did I? Next, we go to Board and Dice, and I could be talking about, the new Teotihuacan expansion, or Dust in the Wings, which is a butterfly, beautiful-looking Mancala game that's nice and light, or World Shapers, which is a fast, sharp card drafting game. We played all of these and the main one at a little meetup that we had and enjoyed them all. Teotihuacan expansion, it's going to be brilliant. But the thing that I mainly want to talk about, this is going to be available for demo, Sierra West. And this is a game with many modules where you're going to be playing, quite different imaginings of the basic game, whichever one you choose. We played a game with the Apple version where some of the cards relate to gathering apples, but the main thing is that there is a hill made up of cards that we will slowly reveal, and we have player boards with little pieces missing from them, and we're going to draw 3 cards from our decks that all start out very similar. We're going to, I think, identical actually. We're going to draw 3 cards from our decks, and we're going to arrange them in such a way. So we don't have a choice of which cards we're going to play, but we have a lot of choice of how we're going to play them. And the way that the player board works, they're all going to be overlaid in a certain way that, depending on which one you put first, second, and third, you're going to get completely different configurations of actions. And then you have 2 different workers that run across 2 different rows of actions that you've made by placing these cards. And yeah, you're going to be doing very different things based on the modules. But yeah, trust me, if you are at the expo, this is worth getting a demo of. Next up is Adventure Mart from Digisprite. This is going to be available for demo. It is on Kickstarter right now. I don't know that much about it yet, but the theme really appeals to me. Maybe it's my love, it's still lingering feelings of the Supermarket Sweep board game. Surely that's going to be linked in the corner. That's a brilliant playthrough. Watch just the beginning at least. But yeah, this is a game where we are playing as... We're running a shop, really, but it's a shop in a high fantasy world where we are serving adventurers and things. And I really, really like the concept of that, whether it's, there was a video game called, was it Recitar, where you play as the shopkeeper that you would normally just be a tiny non-player character in a video game, but I like the idea of you taking on this role of someone that is often ignored. But yeah, we are competing store owners and we are trying to attract the various adventurers based on what they need. And it's a deck building game. And that's a big plus for me either way. Like I said, I don't know that much about it. It looks very nice. It's got nice, cute, fantasy artwork, but hoping to find out more once I'm there. And yeah, I like the idea that it's in a much, much heavier game, I imagine, but Forge War as well, we take on the role of people giving adventurers orders. I like this kind of the tweak on the normal fantasy thing. The same story is happening, but we're kind of playing it out, we're seeing it from a different angle, and I really like that. And finally, The Gig from Braincrack Games. This is another demo. This is a dice drafting roll and write game. There's elements of both in this, and I love both of those mechanisms in games. And we are different musicians in a jazz group that are drafting dice and using them in our own separate roll and write puzzles based on the instrument that we are playing. That's pretty much about what I know. I missed out on checking it out in the last UK Games Expo where it was also available for demo. So yeah, it's a priority to try it this time because just being a roll and write game would interest me enough. But I love that rather than being its whole game, it's an element as part of a bigger game and the theme as well. I am not very knowledgeable about jazz at all, but a music themed game is really appealing to me, and I can't really think of many that I've played, if any, that I've played Thrash and Roll. Maybe that's the closest that I've gotten so far. But yeah, I really like the idea of games where we are playing from a band's perspective and yeah, how it's going to work out that we are competing, but you are going to want to work together in the band as well. Really looking forward to trying out The Gig. So that is the 10 games that I am most excited about trying. Not that it's the only ones. There's Letter Jam and Sanctum from CGE. There's loads more things. I don't know why that's the only one that occurred to me right now. But yeah, you can see from my big Board Game Geek list or from the Tabletop Together tool, you can make your own list of ones. And I will be checking out more than these 10, hopefully. And I will have a big flashy report video for you after the expo once everything's calmed down a little bit. If you are at the expo, we will be running around from meeting to meeting, but hopefully we will bump into you and say hi and stuff. And at 8 p.m. on the Saturday in the Toot Suites, you can see me on the Gaming Rules Live podcast, where there are tons of guests planned, I think, and lots of Jaffa cakes are promised. But hey, yeah, you can hear what we've got to say. I don't know what we're going to say yet. It is going to be not a disaster, the opposite of a disaster. A really good disaster. Anyway, I'll see you at the expo. Bye.